All right, a node is a generic term for a piece of content on your website in Drupal. So the content type of the node will define what kind of fields or specific information that the node displays. So for example, a basic page content type has minimally two fields, a title and a body. And so other examples of content types are book, which could have fields like title, author, summary, review, price, stuff like that. Profile, which may have fields like name, job title, department, email, phone number, and product, which could have fields like name, price, height, width, weight. So you've basically got the various content types like the basic page, the book, the profile, the product. And so the word node is not in the mathematical sense of a network, it just means a piece of content. Okay, then we have entity types. So entity types is basically a useful abstraction to group together the fields. So for example, you can store and display data, and data it could be nodes, the content, or comments or taxonomy terms, and user profiles or something custom developed. And so the entity API can basically help with the entity types. Now comments are another type of content you can have on your site, and you have to enable the core comment module for that. And each comment is typically built with a small piece of content that a user submits and is attached to a particular node. So for example, each piece of discussion attached to a particular forum topic node is a comment. Okay, now let's talk about taxonomy. So Drupal has a system for classifying content known as taxonomy, and it's provided by the core taxonomy module. And you can define your own vocabularies or groups of taxonomy terms and add terms to each vocabulary. And each vocabulary can then be attached to one or more content types. And in this way, nodes on your site can be grouped into categories, tagged, or classified in any way you choose. So taxonomies can be very useful for building different types of node vocabularies. Depending on whether you're building maybe a classroom education system, maybe you're building something else, so on. A user is a type of entity which represents a real-world website user. By default, a user has a set of properties, including their username, password, role, email, address. So basically, an entry in the user table. And however, you can also have other properties defined by other modules which you can extend with new fields. So you can add a new link field for a user's Twitter address, for example. Okay, a module. A module is software code that extends Drupal's functionality, and modules fall into one of three categories: core modules, contributed modules, and custom modules. So core modules are part of Drupal itself, such as blog, book, poll, or taxonomy. Contributed modules are basically modules you download from Drupal.org, such as panels, views, or meta tags. And custom modules are modules you write yourself, and it requires PHP programming and Drupal APIs. Okay. Now regions and blocks. So pages on your Drupal site are laid out in regions, and these can include the header, footer, sidebars, feature top, feature bottom, main content regions, etc. And your theme can define additional regions. And so blocks are discrete chunks of information that are displayed in the regions of your site's pages. And blocks can take the form of static HTML or text, menus, output from modules, hot forum topics, dynamic listings, or other blocks that you've created yourself. Okay, menus. So there are 4 standard menus in Drupal: the main menu, the management menu, the navigation menu, and the user menu. So the main menu is built by site administrators and displayed automatically in the page header of many themes. Okay, management is the administration menu and is presented in the admin toolbar. Navigation is the catch-all menu that usually contains links supplied by modules on your site. And user menu contains links to the user account and the logout link. Okay, and you can also create your own custom menus, and you can display them by enabling their blocks. And you can customize menus in several ways, such as reordering menu items by setting their weight or simply dragging them into place, renaming menu items, and changing the link titles. And the tooltip that appears when you mouse over a menu item, you can move a menu item into a different menu by editing the parent property of the menu item. And you can also add custom menu items to a menu from the Add Menu Item tab of the menu administration screen. And so to create a menu item, you need to provide the path to the content. And in all cases, a menu item will be shown to a visitor if they have the rights to view the page it links to. And so, for example, the admin menu item is not shown to visitors who are not logged in. Okay, next. So theme. So the theme layer is separate from the data layer, the functionality, extension layer, module, and core. And theme controls the appearance, the look and feel of your site, or how the site's displayed, and includes the graphic look, the layout, and the colors. Okay, so a theme consists of one or more PHP template files that define the HTML output of your site's pages, along with one or more CSS files that define the layouts, fonts, colors, and other styling information. All right, views. So although not all sites have views, most sites include the views module because of the excellent tools it provides. And views allow people to choose a list of nodes or other entities and present them as pages, blocks, RSS feeds, or other formats. So the main use case for views is to create dynamically updating lists of content, for example, a listing of latest news based on properties of the content, and in the case of news listing, that the content type is news and sorted by publication date. Okay, views layout. So views can be created as pages or blocks, and views data can be themed by creating custom templates. Templates can be created to display output, style output, and field content. In display output, the user can override the default order of views, content structure. And in styled output, user can theme the entire HTML structure of view content and for field output for customizing the field's data. Okay, database. So Drupal has its own database with each type of information has its own table. And so, for example, the basic information about the nodes of your site is stored in a node table, and each field stores its data in a separate table. Comments and users also have their own separate database tables, as do roles, permissions, and other settings. And most common database for Drupal is MySQL. However, you can run it on PostgreSQL as well. All right, path. So when you visit a URL within the Drupal site, the part of the URL after your base site address is known as the path. And when you visit a path in your Drupal site, Drupal figures out what information should be sent to your browser by checking its list of menu items and routes. And generally, Drupal allows each module to define paths that the module will be responsible for. And when you choose to visit a particular path, Drupal asks the module what should be displayed on the page. So for example, the page you're viewing could be drupal.org/node and then node number. And the path is node/the node number. And so the module that's responsible for this path is the core node module. So when you visit this page, Drupal lets the node module determine what to display. Okay. Bootstrap. The Bootstrap is the CPU of Drupal. And this is not talking about Bootstrap CSS. This is talking about the bootstrapping process in Drupal. And so in other interactive software environments, it's basically the event loop, but in Drupal's core, it's a bit like that. And it sits around waiting for a path request and then starts processing that request. And permissions. So permissions can be set to control what users have access to, view, and or edit particular areas of a site. And these permissions pertain to registered users, administrators, content editors, site members, and non-registered users. You can also set new permissions of your own and to very specific and granulate, making for a powerful feature to use when developing a site's structure. All right, that's it for now. And hopefully you've got the basic concepts of Drupal. If I was too fast, you can listen to this video again. And we will continue in more detail in further videos.